guys, Angela here. I am back to talk a little bit more about whey protein. I feel like I didn't touch on everything that I wanted to touch on in my last video. So I have a couple more things that I want to share with you, and I'll probably throw in a couple of images this time around. I want to touch on how we encourage dairy intake in our children. The intake of cow's milk protein often can start in infancy with infant formulas. And they're actually finding now that, in my last video I talked about leucine, the leucine content of cow's milk and how that can stimulate an enzyme called mTOR, which also stimulates growth. So they're actually finding that this excess leucine intake in as early as infancy can actually be a link to childhood obesity. It is not the cause of childhood obesity. There's a lot that goes into that, including lifestyle and junk food and all that stuff. But they're finding there is a relationship. And it makes sense if you think about it. And I will show you an image. I'll put an image up right now so that you can see the link between leucine intake and how it activates mTOR. And I'll show you another image, how the cow's milk protein can actually encourage what's called adipogenesis. Adipo as in fat, adipose tissue. Genesis as in the creation of fat tissue. So they're finding now that this increase in leucine intake in as early as childhood can encourage fat accumulation in children. So I just wanted to bring up that point as well. Another point I want to make is, and it's just an interesting topic, an interesting thought, is no mammal can actually create an amino acid. Only plants can actually create an amino acid. And when I say amino acid, those are the building blocks of proteins. So only a plant can actually take the nitrogen from the air and turn it into an amino acid. Humans have the ability to take a protein and turn it into another protein in our liver in a process called transamination. But we can't actually make a protein. So, and it's funny, people think of eating animals when they think of eating protein, but really plants are the ones that actually make the protein to begin with. Something else I want to talk about is fullness. Many people think that they need to add a protein to their smoothie to help it last longer in their body or help them feel full. So proteins and fats will actually delay the emptying of your stomach, but the only thing that really helps with making you feel full is fiber. There's so many people focused on protein for weight loss. That is rampant in society right now. What you really need to focus on is fiber. Fiber stays in your gastrointestinal tract, and it slows down the absorption of nutrients. Nutrients actually get tangled up in all that fiber, and it slows down how quickly it gets absorbed into your system. And fiber makes it all the way down to your colon. We don't break it down. It's taking up space in your intestinal tract and staying there longer. That's what's going to help you lose weight, is focusing on fiber. Where does fiber come from? Plants. The average American eats half the amount of fiber that they need and twice the amount of protein. So for your morning smoothie, I recommend focusing on fiber and not focusing on protein. And maybe that will even out. A little less protein, a little more fiber. So if you have some type of condition where you really do need excess protein, there will be some situations, and some people can benefit from excess protein or more protein, additional protein. Such as, for example, you have some type of illness that requires a greater amount of protein, or pregnancy, you'll need a little more protein. The elderly can benefit from a little more protein. And if you do need to add a little more protein to your morning smoothie, I do recommend plant-based proteins, such as hemp protein or pea protein. Those would be better. I don't recommend a soy protein, simply because what studies have found with soy is best consumed in its whole food form. I can do a whole nother video on soy if people want to hear about it, but soy is best consumed in its whole food form and organic. If you do a soy protein concentrate, they're finding that this can peak our IGF-1 production. If you watched my video on milk, does milk do a body good? I talked about IGF-1 and how that is a growth factor that our body will produce that can encourage the growth of unwanted tissue in the body, such as cancers. But if you consume soy protein in a high amount, they're finding that it can also encourage IGF-1 spikes. So pea protein, hemp protein would be great. Anyway, I will post a little list here of a great morning smoothie, something that I drink. I mentioned it in my last video. I'll just post the recipe here and you can look at it if you want. This recipe has between 10 to 15 grams of protein and 15 to 18 grams of fiber, which is great, which should be all you really need to get your day started. So thank you for watching, and give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Please subscribe if you have yet to subscribe. I've got lots more I want to talk about, and I will be putting out a video on plant versus animal proteins and how they are metabolized in our bodies a little bit later. So have a great day.